Welcome to the Prospect Podcast. This is Coach Schumann. As always, we have Coach D to my left. It's Monday morning, post Easter. Hope everyone had a good Easter. And we have a great guest today, defense coordinator, Coach Zach Payne from Greenback High School in Tennessee. We're going to dive into some things today there from a defensive standpoint. Coach, welcome to the podcast.
Hey guys, thank you for having me.
Coach has been at Greenback for a while. It's a 1A school. He's a defensive coordinator there. They're really looking to build that program up. But before that, he was at a 5A school, a bigger school, coaching defense as well. He's a younger guy who's really, fast riser in his career, and it's really great to talk to a lot of these younger coaches. He's been heavily involved in their program, obviously from a defensive standpoint, player development, program leadership. Has done a great job as the defense coordinator, assistant head coach, and he's developed a specific defensive system, which we'll get into, that he utilized to help his defense be real successful. So welcome, Coach, to the podcast.
Thank you, guys. I'm super excited.
Coach, dive into your background. Take us on your journey, and then we'll dive into everything from there.
Yeah, man. So for me, playing college football really wasn't an option. So I fell in love with the game so much. I had great coaches in high school that I couldn't see myself without the game. So I immediately began to think about, all right, number one, what do I want to do for a career? And then number two, how can I still be involved in the game? So was really blessed. I began coaching Pee Wee football, so the young kids, probably 8 or 9 years old. And I spent my first year in college working with them, and man, that was awesome. You talk about trying to take what you had learned as a player, and then you're becoming a first-year coach, and then you're trying to teach all these young kids how to do it. But it made me think about the game in a whole different scope, and I fell in love with it because it's a constant game of like, how can I take all these details and simplify it for them to understand and for them to go and do. And I got blessed with the opportunity to become a middle school defensive coordinator through my sophomore, junior, and senior year in college. While I was doing that, I was at Eagleton Middle School, and I was helping out with Heritage High School on Friday nights while I was doing that. So it was a really, really cool experience to learn how to prep myself with the defensive side of the ball, and then on Friday nights getting to sit up in the box with Heritage and Coach Hammondtree there, and getting to put a headset on for the first time and talking with their defensive coordinator about what's going on, and getting to see the different perspective of the game from a player to a coach that fast was a lot of opportunities for growth. So I enjoyed it. Graduated from Maryville College here. It's a local D3. It's a great school system. So they set me up, and I ended up getting my first intern job at William Blount High School in the COVID era. So I didn't really know if there was going to be a place for me or not. I mean, we were all in a mess, and I got blessed to land there with Coach Philip Shad-Owens. Coach Shad-Owens is now at Catholic High School in Knoxville, Tennessee. So it's a pretty well-known private school. They have a lot of ballers there. They do a great job. But he blessed me with the opportunity to get on his staff. I coached on the offensive side of the ball there for 2 years. And then I got my first full-time teaching position at Lenoir City High School. So I spent 3 years there, enjoyed every second of it with my current head coach. Then he got this coaching position at Greenback High School. So we decided to make our way over there. So it's a local place that is just really down the road from where I grew up in Maryville, Tennessee. And, I used to go to a couple games a year and watch them. They're this small 1A school, really cool atmosphere. They park the trucks around the fence of the field. They all back up to it, so everybody sits in their tailgates. I mean, it's a very magical place. So we're really, really blessed to be there, and I'm thankful for the journey that God's taken us on, being my family. So the game is just an avenue. I just believe in serving kids in the community, and I just feel like every day this is what I'm called to do. So I haven't worked a day in my life, and if I do, I guess I'll find something else to do. But until then, I'm going to keep riding it out. So.
No doubt. So getting into coaching, and was this something that always you just knew you were going to do? And
no, to be honest with you, so my family owns a used car dealership. So growing up, I was like, I'm gonna play sports. I love the games, whether it's baseball or I don't know. We're all competitive, so I'll try to fight somebody in tennis if I have to. But I really just began to think about like, okay, do I want to really take over the family dealership and become a used car salesman and get into the financing world and all that stuff? And man, I just had so many really good coaches from George Corals to Brandon Waters and so many different guys. I mean, I know I'm missing people, but they impacted my life in such a way to where I began to think about like, what do I really want? So when I was 18, I wrote my parents a letter because I didn't know how to really talk to them about it. But I wrote them a letter on my 18th birthday, and I told them that I feel like God has a plan for me to be a teacher and a coach, and I feel like that's going to be my platform and my calling to both significance in people's lives and hopefully some success in my own and my family. So from that letter, I never looked back. So I was able to really dive into it and give it 100%. And I think that we control the work ethic, and God's got the rest of it. So just got to keep on working.
No doubt. Were your parents? What were their thought process when you decided to go into coaching? Were they full boat on that, or were they like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
It was 50-50. So half of it was like the financial side of it, like
of course,
make sure you think about kind of what you're getting into here. Teachers don't make a ton of money and stuff, and it opened up a really good conversation for me to talk to them about what I wanted from my life and my vision for it going forward, because they were really proud of the fact that I was able to come up with something and go for it. Right. I mean, I have 2 kids of my own, and if they're passionate about something, then let's ride that wave. I mean, let's see how far it goes. And if you crash and burn, I'll clean it up. That's what I'm here for. And my parents were the same way, and they supported the heck out of it. It's been really cool though. It's kind of intertwined our lives. My wife is the finance manager there. And I work there on the summer some too. If whatever they need, I can help with. But it's been good. They supported it. They knew pretty quickly once I started doing it that it was a good fit. So from there, they've just been really supportive, and they've helped sponsor every program I've been with, feed the kids. Whatever that they need to do, they step up and do it. So
that's awesome.
It's been a blessing in different ways.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you're still involved with them, but you're focused on the stuff you need to do. When you came to Greenback, talk to me about. Well, talk to me a little bit about what made you go to Greenback. I'm assuming you and the head coach went together, right?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
So and then talk about what made you guys make that move, and then and what it was like when you first went there.
Yeah. So the big aspect of it was, first and foremost, we loved our time at Lenoir City High School. I mean, great people, great kids, great community. I mean, we couldn't have been blessed with a better situation, truly. There was just some things that kind of happened to where we ended up with 3 head coaches 3 years in a row. So it began to make us, just pray a little bit about it and think about it. And when he got this opportunity to go, instead of being another whole new staff transition, I just felt more comfortable with taking that next leap of faith with him, and him giving me the opportunity, like, hey, I want you to be our defense coordinator. Hey, I want you to be the associate head coach. He's like, I know you are well more than ready for the job. So for me, Greenback is a place I've always wanted to be at. Like, something about it's always just been something that's kind of lured me into it.
The mystique.
Yes. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it other than like, it's one of those places. Like, if you've ever been to one of those places, it's that. So
it's just different.
It is.
And it's words can't do it justice. Look, I think all of us kind of have that. I can literally think of like 3 or 4 that come to mind right here, just like where we are. It's just kind of one of words don't do it justice. It's just kind of, there's something about it. It's almost like, I don't want to say like magical, but like there's a side of it that something just hits, and it's like, oh, I'd love to be a part of that, or I would love, you know what I mean? Because on the outside looking in, it's like, look, we all make lists and things like that as we're coming into this profession of like, hey, if this opportunity ever comes up, or if it's the right situation, like we'll kind of hit it and run, and that seems like kind of this is that place for you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's always been kind of there for us, but the opportunity really was a great opportunity as well. So I know that I want to be a head coach one day, or at least I want to strive for it. So the biggest uphill battle for most of us seems to be like getting that experience, but then you're in this back and forth between the cat and mouse game of, well, you need the experience, but how do you get the experience if nobody ever gives you the experience kind of thing. So, but the biggest thing about Coach Wilhite is just the way that he supports his players. He takes care of his program, and then he encourages us as his coaches to go and find ourselves. So his defense is what we run, but he's allowed me to take it and put my own twist on it and explore and try to find ways to be creative. And he lets me mess up. And just like a parent, I mean, if I screw something up, he'll come around later and he'll nudge me in the back or kick me or something and be like, well, that didn't work out too good, did it? But here's how you fix it. So that's been the biggest thing of it all is I know where I want to try to work to get to, and he's going to help me get there, just as well as anywhere that we're at together. There's going to be a lot of support for those players, getting them to where they want to be as well, and developing good athletes and good people. So he turns out good people into society. I'm about that. So
no doubt about it. I mean, I think that's a big part of it. And so what was the transition to go into a 1A program? What was that like? What was some of the things that are different for being at a bigger school for you?
Yeah, man. The biggest difference is really just having everybody together. So, I mean, we're a K-12 school. So going into it, we started to think about, okay, we have a middle school program that has just started. So it was 1 year old. Like it had just had its inaugural season before we got there. So we were like, okay, we're all in the same building. How can we do this? So the first thing we did, we came together and we streamlined our program. So we have one bank account, 6 through 12 all together. And it's really cool because when we do our EDDs and we do our individual time, the middle school actually works with me. So like I have outside linebackers from high school and middle school. And then whenever we go into a physical situation, then we disperse. Right. They go do their thing. We go do our thing. But so what's going to happen is these kids are going to get from 6th grade all the way to 12th grade. They're going to get the same coaching, the same verbiage, the same terminology. It's completely streamlined. So that is one of the coolest aspects, in my opinion. The big difference, I think, is probably numbers. When we first got to Greenback, they'd just been through some rough times, and they were down to about 19 kids on the football team. So when we first got there, the biggest thing was, how can we create some energy, some momentum to get these kids in? We went into the season right around 40 kids, so it was really awesome to see that. And it allowed us to actually be able to develop a practice schedule to where we can compete with each other, against each other, and not have to do like tons of half-line stuff and all that. Like we could actually get 11 on 11. Then our interest meeting we just had a couple weeks ago, we were sitting right around 50 kids. So for us, that's a great number to be at. We were extremely young. But that transition, it was a little bit of a shock at first. I went from teaching high school to teaching middle school, so that was something in itself.
Ooh, buddy. God bless you. I did. I started in middle school and transitioned to high school. I've since left education altogether. But anybody who knows, look, just because you have a just because you have a middle schooler doesn't mean you know what it's like to see a middle schooler in school. Like, because 7th and 8th grade, man, even 6th, it is unbelievable. Like it is on a different level. And it's I give you a lot of credit, brother.
Man, I was just talking to my principal the other day, and I was like, brother, coming from teaching juniors and seniors this past year.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because we're so small, right? So I teach 6th, 7th, and 8th grade social studies. So 2 classes each. So
I was a history teacher too, so I get it.
Yeah, man. And I was like, the biggest thing for me is like, it's not content stuff. It's just it's an elementary room all of a sudden.
Buddy, you got a 6th grader that's still like going into 4th grade, and you got a 6th grader that's like 18. Like, and then they're worried about everything else under the sun, like other than what the hell you're trying to teach. Like, it's
Tennessee just recently passed the phone law too. So these kids can't have their cell phones at all.
They don't know what. Oh, so they don't know. There you go, Dave. There you go. No cell phones in school.
I'm sitting here at first. I'm like, heck yeah, this is good. Like, I don't have to worry about it. Now I'm sitting here like, I wish they had their phone. Something to just sit on for like 5 seconds. Like, can y'all just be quiet and scroll on TikTok or something for a minute? But it's not there.
Oh yeah, buddy.
It's a dual-edged sword all of a sudden.
But I get it.
It's a great transition with that, though. I mean, it's a stress in itself, but it's been really rewarding. It's awesome. But that allows me, it allows me to build a relationship too with the middle school kids as they're coming up. So there's an excitement with football in that realm. So it's been really, really good. And
they
it
know
allows
you coach
me
at the
to,
high school.
what's that?
Yeah, they love it. No, I'm saying that the middle that and Dave and I have discussed this over and over. When you take over a program, like the importance of that youth program or that middle school program, because here in Jersey, they're two totally separate entities. Middle school and high school are different. Like the high school sometimes doesn't even have contact with the middle school programs. Like it's not like middle school football. Even look, yours is different in that you're in the same building, but that's not like a thing here, right? Like those are separate from the high school, where you now have to go and you have to communicate with that youth program of like, hey, like we want your guys to come here. We want to be a part of this. Like, hey, let's start trying to run some of the same stuff or whatever it is, same verbiage, or here's a camp, or we'll send you some guys, a couple nights a week when you're practicing or whatnot. Like it's just unless you go and make that initial and have that conversation, like there could be no communication whatsoever based off of middle school and high school. They're not connected at all. They might be different colors, different mascots. Yeah, I mean it's literally, it could be like this. So we always say program takeover one-on-one is you got to get down to the youth. You got to go to the middle schools within the district or the charter schools, whatever it is, whatever places can send kids to your high school. And that creates a buy-in from those kids. I mean, they look at those high schoolers like they're celebrities, like they're in the NFL, right? Like you want that on a Friday night where they're wearing their jersey and they're excited to go to the game because they're a part of it, and they're gonna be, a part of it, right? Like they are the future of that. And if you don't have some of those conversations, or you're not even looking to do that, like I don't understand, it's really difficult to sustain, a winning program. And here in Jersey, because I'll reference that, like it's guys will leave their public school, high school where they're going to go to a private school, right? So you have to have some type of appeal for them to stay. Otherwise, they'll just pay to leave to go to another school. So that's even more of to get involved with the youth program, because you're basically almost borderline recruiting your program, right? Yeah, you have to sell it. And I always said that a pivotal piece of that is having a high school coach in that middle school building. The most successful programs I've been at always had one coach that was in the middle school, kind of pumping that, or say, hey, I can't wait to play for you. Like, you want that a part of it, but a lot of guys, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, for us, at least in Tennessee, like every interview I've ever been on, that was like head coaching wise, that was one of the very first questions is like, okay, how are you streamlining your program from top to bottom? And when they say bottom, they mean like
bottom,
two-hand touch flag football kids. Like, what are you going to do? So for us, it's really, really important. And coming into Greenback, one of the very first things that's important to us anyway is we want to make sure the faculty and staff, they're on board with our vision. So awesome. We really try our best to start off on the right foot and make sure that they understand, like, we're about our business when it comes to discipline, when it comes to grades and this stuff. Like I check grades twice a week. They get pit. They're going to be doing some rolling and these kinds of things, or they're not going to work out. They're going to go to tutoring, and they eat it up and they love it. We did a Teachers of Impact night. I'm sure you all have probably seen, like, where players will give their teachers jerseys and stuff. We get them a shirt that says Teachers of Impact across the front, and then it's got the player's name and number on the back of it. And they actually run out with that player on one of the game nights. We have a big Teachers of Impact night. And then one of the things we got together with, especially since we were a K-12, I got with Coach Wilhite. We were talking about how we can reach those young kids. And what we were able to do was we got in contact with the director of the youth sports, the youth football program. And I got every name of the kid that they go to Greenback. And we wrote them a letter about, hey, we're excited for your season. We want to personally invite you to one of our games, and just something really nice. We made sure it was to their name specifically. And then
that's awesome. It's a great idea. It's a really great idea, especially
Man,
because that stuff doesn't happen anymore, right? Like it's a generic email without a name. It's not very personable, and especially coming from a, in a small town kind of feel or vibe to that. I think that could be that's the game changer right there, right? Like, oh,
oh
this
yeah,
guy knows who I am. Mom and dad
we,
probably love it too. You know what I mean? Like,
man. I
oh
mean,
shit, like look at this.
yes, we had parents coming up to us, and they were like, you would think that they got offered a scholarship, like it was
Yeah.
that big of a deal, and it really stuck with us. So that's something we'll make sure that we do from here on out. And then even when I'm gone from Coach Will Hyatt, it'll be stolen. I mean, it's good. So I mean, sometimes I think a little bit of elbow grease and getting some work in to reach those kids. I mean, you'd be amazed what just the littlest of things would do to persuade a kid like that. So
right, and sometimes it's things for us that like kind of you don't even realize, right? Like that was one of the first things Coach Shu taught me when we took over a program, in a town that it had a bigger private school like within it, right? And they had kind of always been the bigger of the better. But he's like, look, if we're going to grow this thing, then I need to go out and I need to make sure that these kids are coming to us, right? So he went to every middle school and charter school within the sending districts, and he made sure, like he went into this and he said, hey, like I'll take all these guys in the cafeteria. He had like a Q&A type of conversation of like, hey, this is the program. We want you to be a part of it. We're going to be doing this, and just kind of laid it all out. And that in itself, you know what I mean, brought us like bunch of guys, right? Like, or just even just, hey, like being a newer face in the area of just like, what's this guy all about? Who is he? Right? Like, where are you coming from? Like, just adds a different level of comfort for those guys. Now they can visually see it and they kind of hear the impact, right? And it is what it is. But I mean, it's important.
Yeah, I mean, it's been great. First off, our players are phenomenal. So we're pretty blessed with a situation where we feel like we got kids we can develop to be great athletes, but we have really great humans too. So
yeah, that always helps. That's for sure.
A lot of different things where on game days we'd open up the car doors for the elementary kids. Once again, I mean, if you want to win parents and you want to win an administration, start taking care of the pups running around.
No doubt.
I mean, first off, they're a great time anyway. They get all fired up. It's awesome. It gets me fired up. But
yeah.
Our players being out there, lots of positive vibes with that. Then our guys love the opportunity to serve. So there are some things over the summer that we did to get them in a service mindset to where we give back and just making sure that they understand that you're a greenback football player. Sometimes your name disappears and you get to become something bigger than yourself. And once you believe in that and you buy into that vision, that standard, the rest of it begins to take care of itself. So lots of really good things happening in that aspect. The transition has been great, though. We're really blessed with a great administration, a great school system all the way from the top down that they believe in us. They support in us. From a financial standpoint, we kind of came in. It was a little bit rocky where the player numbers were low. So the amount of income to keep the program running, of course, was, kind of in a teeter phase. But we came in and they took really good care of us. And like this next year, we had to charge for a kids camp last year just to make sure we could afford shirts to give the kids. This upcoming year, we're hoping it's just free to any kid because we've been blessed to be able to get the thing up and rolling and financially like we need to be able to, first off, support us, but then second off, to where we can begin to bless those kids and really brand our program the way we want to. So, I mean, it's a really cool moment, a cool story. We're building a brand new stadium and a brand new field. We're probably the only 1A school in East Tennessee that has a turf field coming up. So there's a lot of really big changes happening, and our school district, they're on top of it. So Tennessee just passed that one-time free transfer for high school.
Yeah, we have that.
So, I mean, we have to compete. Otherwise, they'll go somewhere else because we have some state championship teams right down the road if they feel like they can go play there or something like that. You know how that goes. But
no doubt.
Trying to make sure we keep all of our horses in the stable, if you would.
Yes, sir.
No doubt. Talk about how you developed your defensive philosophy and how you went about that part. I think you got like a unique way that you're going about it. Talk about that.
Yeah. So first off, I come from a traditional 4-3 system, so that's what I played in. And when we were at William Blount, Coach Shad Owens was a 4-2-5 guy, so I got a little bit introduced to that. I was coaching running backs. But when I got to North City, I started coaching on the defensive side of the ball again. And Coach Wilhite ran a 3-4-3-3 defense. And I was like, oh my, this is a whole different world.
This is a different ball game, buddy.
And
oh yeah.
It just within a week, of course, sitting down, coach is coaching me up and getting me ready to go. And then I'm starting to see the bullets actually fly. And I'm like, this is me. I can see myself in this system. It's aggressive. We're manipulating the offense. I mean, there's a lot of things I really like about it. But from a philosophy standpoint, we really emphasize fast, physical, and violence. I mean, we want to be fast. We want to be physical. We want to be violent. I mean, we're just built on disguising pressure. So we focus a lot on stemming our front and moving around. We get into the 3-3 stack a lot to mix it up. We want to create confusion on the offensive side. And the way that we fit it all together is we don't change any kind of teaching between the 3-4 and the 3-3. We leave it all the same and we just deal with it. We're built out of box and spill principles. So our interior defensive linemen, and then our inside linebackers, they're trying to spill the ball out to our outside linebackers. They'll box it up. And then the tricky part within that typically is with our safeties. If we're in the too high structure, they have to make us right. But overall, I mean, it fits our kids really well. Within the first day or two of practice, they understand their run fits. So for the most part, though, for us, we really try to keep things super simple, right? Because simple is fast. And by doing that, we really put the ball in the kids' court quite a bit. So, like, I don't call coverages. If I want to run something specific, like I want to run a fire zone, or if I want to get in 3 high, or if I want to run man or something like that, then I'll call it. But otherwise, the kids are out there, they're making the call, and it's stuff that we've repped all week. We give them a toolbox, and that's all they get to pick from. But they get to pick whatever they want. So as long as they're on the same page, it's cool. But I mean, overall for us, though, we just believe in changing the picture on the offense. If we can create confusion for them, then we've got them where we want them, because we're going to attack them. We're not a sit back and let it happen kind of defense. So if we stem the front and all of a sudden we're in 4 eyes and we're in that tight front and then we're bringing some pressure, I mean, I'm just trying to confuse a 16-year-old. So if my 16-year-olds know what's going on and your 16-year-olds don't, then we have a good chance right now.
Yeah. So. No, it makes great. It look, always been a firm believer in, play fast, play aggressive, get after it, create chaos and whatnot. But I think like the simplicity of it adds a level. And look, just because you're simple doesn't mean it's easy, or it's, what I mean? Like, or it's the same type of thing, even from an offensive, perspective, right? Like we can run very few plays, but we'll mix it up and we'll run, a bunch of formations, you know what I'm saying? Because like you said, you're out there trying to create confusion and chaos. And look, for the most part, it's not really hard to do that with, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids. I love that you also put the onus on them. A lot of coaches, wouldn't like that because they feel like they need to be in control and whatnot. But I think if the trust in your kids allows them to make, you know what I mean? If you're putting them in the right situations and you're repping it over and over and over, like, and they make those right calls, like that ownership on their part just creates more buy-in, right? Mm-hmm. Like now they're going to believe into it a bunch more, which I think is a little, outside the box in terms of what it is. But again, it goes back, my thing is it goes back to that smaller football where you are, like every one of those kids like probably plays a significant amount of time where you're probably a lot of 2 platoon, right? Like guys play offense, they play defense. Like you have to keep it simple. You don't have the ability to, okay, offense is on the field, they come off the field, hey guys, sit down, let's take a look at like whatever over here. And I don't even know your rules there, like because here in Jersey, we can use iPads on the sideline. So I can literally pull up the play from before, where I know in Texas, you can't do that, right? Like, so every state kind of has their own thing, but, and we're kind of like where I'm at. We're like a middle of the pack type of team in terms of size. We're a group 3. Jersey groups it in 5 groups, 5 being the biggest. So we're kind of like right in the middle of that where, majority of guys are one-way guys, but you have a couple, probably 2 or 3 guys that go both ways. And so I can pull them over to the side and have a conversation with them and talk to them and, hey, what went on in the road series. But the simplicity of it, I think is excellent because that's allows them to play as fast as they can moving forward. Right. And then creating that chaos for the other side of the ball. I mean, like you said, like it's a 16-year-old kid getting confused out there because you're, shifting here or you're moving guys here or disguising it. Like that's just, and it makes it fun for the guys playing defense too.
Yeah, I mean they love it, and for us coming from 5A football, that's where the transition I think has hit us the most defensively. Is we're coming from a world of we're going to play spread almost every week. We're going to see RPOs and those.
I was going to ask you that. Is that what you see? You see a lot of spread offenses. You see a lot of like no huddles, like tempo type.
So we did. Now we're in. Now that where we're at, so now I'm seeing a lot more tight end wing. I'm seeing the double wing. I'm seeing the Delaware wing, some single wing ish kinds of things. We're still seeing some spread. We played one team. They're like Art Briles, Tennessee splits way out there.
Yeah.
Fell directly into our hands. I'm like, great. This is our world. We can get this. But kind of similar to like what we were doing offensively. Guys want to put us in the box, and that's fine. I just tell the kids like it's a bar.
Guys do it.
So
yep. And I think that's
you better figure it out.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, 100%. And I think that style of football is coming back, right? When Michigan won it a couple years ago, lining up with 2 tight ends or maybe even 3 at some point, right? Like you're seeing that. Football is all trends, right? It's trends, it's dribs, it's drabs, it's flow. It's it just happens. It comes and goes, right? So for a while it was like, everybody's in a spread, everybody's running RPOs, everybody's chucking it around as much as they can. Now you're starting to see it come back a little bit where the run game is getting more reestablished, I want to say, right? Like it's, you're having the big bodies on the field and moving people and keeping guys in the box and, going back to some of those traditional, like power eye teams or, what I'm saying? Like fullbacks, tight ends, like bigger bodies or whatever. And that's kind of like the world that I'm in, right? So like, when Coach Stu and I have these conversations, it's like, oh, this, that, shit. Like, I rarely see 4 wide, you know what I'm saying? Unless it's, something like that's not their base offense. You know what I mean? Everybody's going to line up and I see a lot of Delaware wing T, you know what I mean? Like those kind of, everybody has their own little
quirk to
they put they put their flavor in it, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, like this is what we see, this is what it is, so it's kind of this guy's this position, this guy's that, you know what I mean? Like you don't need to really mix it up a lot, which good, bad, indifferent, it is what it is. Like you got to play what you play, but for me, I'd love to see a little bit more spread. That's what I came up in, right? Like, but it's just it is what it is. Guys want to do it and I get it. I totally understand where they're at. I think that too though, like with the evolution of flag and 7-on-7 worlds, right? Like you're seeing a trend right now kind of in the NFL. These guys are getting there as quarterbacks and it's like they've never been under center. You know what I'm saying? Or they've never taken a snap. You know what I mean? That wasn't a shotgun snap. And the clocks in their head are so like that 4-second 7-on-7 clock of, get it out and go. And it's just different. They were just raised, like I said, the whole never going under center thing is crazy, but it's part of it, right? Because that's what they grew up in. They don't know any different.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing for us though is, like I said, coming from that spread world, I was just very blessed to where when I was taught the game, I was taught from the world of the wing tees and the power eyes and
right.
So for me, when I began to game plan against these teams, I'm like, okay, this is home for me. Like,
right.
Oh, that's belly, that's trap. Like I know what I want to do against that. So it's really important, I think, and I'm blessed as a young coach to where somebody taught me those kinds of things. So I would be very fearful if I walked into a situation like this and all I knew was 2x2, 3x1, and how to defend space, right? Because at the end of the day, like if you don't know how to defend when they get into that kraut can, as I like to call it, and it's whether it's a nasty devil's tight or whatever, I mean you got to be able to stop it. If not, they're going to cut you. It's like death by 1,000 cuts at that point. So
100%.
I mean, being able to be blessed and taught that style of football has helped out a lot. But for us, I think a lot of it was just simplifying our coverages. As we really got deeper into the season, we realized that we don't need so many different match style coverages that we used to have to use.
Right.
Just because the game is just a little bit more consolidated, it's different. We play really great football teams that are well coached, very well disciplined, right? But the game is just a little bit different. But it made me feel very, very good about the whole situation because a lot of coaches I talked to, like you said, Coach, they're having to adapt to this new brand of football. I was talking with Coach Wheeler from down in Cook. He's the DC in Cook and in Georgia. And he sent me some pictures of some of the teams that they're playing, and they're in these like bastard single wings and bastard wing tee looks, like not even a traditional style. And he's like, this is what we're going up against now all of a sudden. I turned on the Georgia State Championship. Niblett's team was playing whatever that team is. The kid ran for 600 yards. And they're both in like these tight end wing sets with two removed on the other side. And I'm like, you got all the dudes in the world down there.
Right. And you're like, here you are lining up, inside the hashes, you know what I mean? And you're just, handing it off and, ball of dust and let's go,
No doubt. And I mean, but you even think about the trends in the game at the higher levels though, like Match Quarters, he's been on it a lot lately about the fire zone coming back into the NFL. And how safeties are all of a sudden starting to play tighter into that hole. I mean, the game 100%. Has shifted back a little bit because the offenses are like, all right, we're going to put these big tight ends up here. What are you going to do about it?
Right.
Yep. It's been very interesting, and
Whereas a couple years ago, that tight end was now split out as the number 2 wide receiver, right? Like your Jimmy Graham's eras of transitioning that tight end to almost a pass catcher 100%, and if you did attach him, it was window dressing, or you were shifting out of that to get into more of a spread look, right? Like now you're just, hey, we're in the box and let's kind of roll.
Yeah, I mean that tight end position, especially at higher levels, is becoming so important right now. I mean, like I always thought Georgia was like they had these 6'7" guys, these big.
They were ahead of the curve, kind of like
I'm like, what do y'all do with these big cats? And then all of a sudden, it's like, y'all know exactly what you're doing with these big cats. They can block.
Well, I mean, look, you were probably young, but those those Miami teams of the 2000s, early 2000s with, your Jeremy Shockeys, your Kellen Winslows, like those guys were like, they could do both. You know what I mean? Like they were really kind of started that era of like, oh hell, like your Tony Gonzalez is, right? Like those types of guys that now like your Jason Kelly, even though he's on the back end, like he was the fruit of that labor. You know what I mean? These guys, like, I mean, he was a former quarterback for Christ's sakes. You know what I'm saying? Like these guys are athletic, and now you're getting that bigger body guy back with the physicality aspect, right? Because now it's like, hey, let's hammer home and bring it back, so it's really cool to see how that stuff works. And obviously the chess match of being a DC within that and kind of understanding how that just creates another gap, and you got to kind of shift and move and make your kids aware of that. I also think that's really great on your end to teach, because you talk about it, right? Like we're fortunate to know, and I am too, I say this all the time, I had really good coaches from a really good age who taught the game of football, which has allowed me as a coach to take it to the like a whole different level, right? And I get the culture stuff that goes into it, but also like, and they did great at that, but they were also really good at X's and O's, like when you got to college, I felt prepared. And, you're sitting in a meeting room and guys don't know what a 3-tech is, or they have no idea what, the backers in front of you or what the D line is doing, and as a safety, like, I knew everything because my coaches coached it that way, right? Like everybody understood it. So I think a lot of coaches that kind of, they just want to move so fast within the game itself. You know what I'm saying? Like I got to be a coordinator, or I want to call plays, or I want to do this. And it's like, buddy, like this isn't Madden, or this isn't 7-on-7. A lot of those guys kind of think that way. So for your transition personally, right? Like having coaching middle school first is probably one of the best things that could ever happen. You know what I mean? Because you're literally, and then teaching in it, right? Like I always call it coaching in crayon. You know what I mean? Like you're coaching and look, those guys get, coach, what are we doing? And it's like, buddy, these fundamentals are what are going to be like, this is going to be your day one when you get to whatever college you're going to play at. Like this is the stuff that makes teams great, is because they hammer home that. And the simplicity of it. It might seem boring, but we can get to all the exciting and fun stuff that you see on that's, on your social media or whatever. But you at first need to know everything about these little things that are, they're cut and dry. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. And that's where I kind of come back to who you work with and who you work for is so important. I mean, I could probably have sought out some other jobs.
No doubt.
To be able to continue with somebody who believes in my growth is really important, because when I was first starting, that year in Pee Wees was a lot of figuring it out, a lot of hand holding to let me figure out exactly how I'm doing things. But then that immediate jump into middle school as a coordinator, I was like, whoa, all right, this is a cool blessing here. I got to figure out what I'm doing. And
Right.
Coach, I think I changed defenses 3 times. And we got to the end of the season, and he's sitting down with me, talking to me, and he's like, how'd that turn out for you? I said, man, I felt like I was a spinning tornado every Sunday. We'd sit there and meet about it. And he's like, I hope you learned something with that about buying into something and coaching the heck out of the fundamentals of that, whatever it is, and going from there. And, constantly wherever I've been, I've just been so blessed with these coaches that they want you to go skin your knees. Then they're going to circle back and they're going to coach you up. And then they want you to go do it again. And I think a lot of my maturity within the game has happened so fast because of that. I've had the opportunities to where even as a position coach, I can come up with these different drills and different kinds of things. And then, my DC will call me out and he's like, okay, so where does that translate in the game? Or did you see it on Twitter? And I was like, you know what? Okay. No, but you're right. Like, I want somebody to we call it calling me up or call you up because we're trying to make each other better, whether I'm getting onto a player or I'm, having to remind a coach of the expectation for something, but we want to help each other otherwise. So being able to really start to grow just because people were willing to say, hey, what you're doing is good, but it could be better, right? Or how does this actually fit in with what's important? And I think right now the biggest trend in the game is this word called efficiency. I mean, Indiana has just blown the roof off of everything that there is to football. But he's so big on efficiency. And these guys that I've begun to connect with on Twitter and things, I get to see some clips from practices or whatever, and they are doing the most basic EDDs and drills, but it's perfect because it's everything the game needs. It's what you need. I mean, they've got dudes, right? If not, they're going to go find dudes.
Right.
How can you give him the tool belt to go and just do what he's supposed to do? When it comes to the meetings and the schemes and all these things, we can learn that, we can coach that. But that's where I kind of came back to with these coaches that developed me is really just having that understanding of like, how can we practice efficiently and get taken care of what we need to take care of? And just really emphasizing the idea of fundamentals and then effort, right? We got to coach effort constantly. But, I think that there's so many lessons to learn within this game right now from a lot of different levels. So we've been doing this Matty Strong clinic with Coach PJ Gibbs for the Melee family. I know we talked about it earlier and talk about a blessing. I mean, it's been awesome getting to work with those guys and to put on something good for another coach. I mean, I know we're a big community and we want to help each other out. It's just been great. But getting to really dive in and listen to some of these guys, there's a lot of things that they're doing at these higher levels that are really comparable to what we do at the high school level. So really being able to take some of those little nuggets from them has been great to try to apply with how we want to do things. Like when we think about different kinds of pressure variations, right? We can't get too exotic, but how can we maybe fit that into something that fits our kids? When it comes to the fire zone, like we've been talking about, fire zone is one of those things that we love to do. So if we get really good at it, then it's easy for me to say, hey, college coach, Mr. DB coach, we run a lot of fire zone. I know that's what you all want to run. So our kids are pretty well rehearsed and understanding how to drop into the hole and play that particular leverage. So it's been really cool to see how the game's kind of changed and morphed, and it actually fits what we're about to run into this season. So going into year 2 with these different offenses and those kinds of things.
I have a couple more questions. What about so when you going from youth to middle school to high school, what were some of the things that you found that were translated similar, and what were some of the things that you thought was different going through each level?
I always like to tell people, look, Lombardi said, this is a football. And I don't know what it is about it, but when Lombardi said this is a football, that whole storyline, it just kind of comes back to the basics, right? Blocking, tackling, just making sure that those kinds of things are replicated. And when I was teaching youth, we spent so much time with sleds and these little half round bags. We're working on fitting with our thumbs up. We're chopping our feet. Right when we tackle, we're running our feet through contact. Our eyes are up. Even when I was coaching the little kids, we taught 2 to 3 different tackle styles because the coach I worked with believed that, within the game, sometimes crazy things can happen. So the same thing from middle school to high school, even where I'm at today, we teach different styles of tackling. We still get on the dummies and we emphasize just how important blocking is. We'll do tackle circuits. We do blocking circuits. So I think the storyline with Lombardi with this as a football is really important because there are just some things within the game that don't change. And unfortunately, I think sometimes the very small details within the game get left out at the younger levels because they're maybe trying to be more than they're supposed to be.
No doubt.
We want them to fall in love with the game. So let's teach them the basics, especially when it comes to like player safety and how to take care of myself. Some other things that have kind of translated. First and foremost, I believe that some offenses could be ran at the NFL and they can be ran in Pee Wees. So we run a single wing offense. I'm sure you all have heard of it before, right? And I mean, we just believe in it. We get in the unbalanced sets. We can spread them out. We can do whatever we want to do. And if our youth program took the identity of it, they would have success. I watched a clip just the other day of Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl running single wing counter. So, I mean, seeing some philosophy crossover like that has been great as well. Within the game, though, I think a lot of it is really the biggest thing is how to keep players engaged, right? So if you've ever coached the young kids, keeping them engaged and focused during a practice setting is really difficult. So you have to have a plan for your drills and how it's going to cross over to when you all come together, what that's going to look like, whether it's bags or we're playing against each other or on air. The same thing happened in middle school, right? You have this captivated audience. So how do you keep them focused at hand what's going on? I would argue that high schoolers, their attention spans are just as bad. Yeah. So being able to have that
adults are just as bad. You know what I'm saying? Like
adults are worse than kids. But having that plan going into it, man, that's the one thing I will say. Practice structure. I mean, you can say what you want that the game is really different between the young kids and the old kids, but if you don't have a plan, then you plan to fail. That's the bottom line. So you got to know when your water breaks are, how that's going to look. You got to know exactly transition periods. You got to coach the transitions. When you're going from a drill to an inside period or a team period, I yelled at my 7-year-olds just like I yell at my 17-year-olds. Get your butt over there and let's get going. So I think there's so many little aspects of it. Like I would encourage definitely if somebody knew of a good coach at a young level, that's maybe an old head that's been doing it for a long time or something, has some success, go watch them practice and just look at what they do. Because there's a chance that he might be telling that kid something that might just turn a light bulb on for somebody that's a lot older. So, I mean, there's nuggets everywhere. It's just a matter if you can eliminate the pridefulness of yourself that I'm a big high school coach to go and learn from somebody else.
No doubt about it. No doubt
That's a
about
great
it.
point.
I think that absolutely fundamental things go all the way across, and then figuring out how to get your message across to your athletes and getting them to perform and have the understanding of what they have to do is obviously critical. I'm curious in the last part. So from a training standpoint, with respect to like what do you guys do? You talked a little bit about Indiana being efficient. Well, are there things that you guys are doing from a training standpoint that's different? How you develop them, strength and speed wise? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, man. So for us, once again, right, being that 1A program, we really try to intertwine as much as we can. But that is the area where we're actually meeting the most adversity, I guess, if you would. So coming into this 1A school, everywhere else we've been in Tennessee, it's pretty much a staple. You will have a football class, whether it's first thing in the morning or the last thing in the day. You'll have all of your players in a class to work out, do their speed and agility, and those kinds of things. This is our first year with a weight training class for football. So guidance and admin, they're taking really good care of us. They're doing everything they can. But you all know this better than I do. In a school, whenever you add a class, it takes a couple of years for it to actually find its way into the schedule. So half of our kids are having to come before or after school. The other half are in the class right now. So that kind of gives us some weirdness at the moment. Our middle schoolers, they kind of join in the same strength training, right? Because we've really done our best to streamline everything 6 through 12. And recently, the new head coach for our middle school program, he was our linebackers coach this past year. So he's taken on something that he's super excited about, but at the same time, he knows everything about us, offensively, defensively, special teams. And he's a smart enough guy to where he can take that little dumb step down just a little bit, just to get them up to where we want them to be later. So that's a huge blessing. But from the training standpoint, for us, it really kicks off big in the summertime. And that's the one thing I kind of hate at the moment, because we're struggling to make sure we get them all there, because the ones that are not in the class, they are typically going to go to a sport after school. So if there's reasons why they can't get there in the morning or something like that, I mean, you know, we're really hard on our kids when it comes to attendance and grades and those kinds of things. So if they're not at a workout, they're going to know about it. But at the same time, right, we kind of have to pick our battles with it, because some of them have a job. Some of them are playing another sport. 65% of our guys are playing other sports. So that's been the biggest adversity at the moment. But when we get into summertime, we're kind of weird. We do some things differently. We only go 3 days a week. So we do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Our belief is we want them to be kids, but when you're here for football, we're going to absolutely work our tails off. So we spend the first 10 minutes, we do a culture meeting. So whether it's we just have a moment together as a team to talk about something or watch a video, or we do football school where we can get up on the board. The kids will draw something like, hey, I want you to draw this formation or whatever, just trying to help each other. Then we put our cleats on, and then we go outside. And we're really blessed to be able to work with D1 training. I don't know if you all D1's
absolutely. We have one here.
So really good friend of ours. He's the regional guy for the Southeast for the most part. I mean, he's pretty well up there, but phenomenal dude. But they've been blessed to be able to come down and work with us with our speed and agility training. So our guys are really getting an opportunity to get coached from the same dudes that are developing these college kids preparing for the pro combines. And that's been awesome. And of course they're all about it. They think it's like the coolest thing ever. So we work that in, and then that's controlled by them. We take their drills, what they do over the summertime, and then we'll sprinkle it in during the off season, and we'll use the same teaching structure, same points of emphasis, those kinds of things in between our weight room out to the field. So once we transition from the summer into the weight room, we have 3 lifts that we do, and we kind of mix and match those. One's an upper body day, one's a lower body day, then one's a total body day. And then we'll have probably about an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 30 minutes to get out in the field. We'll put our helmets on, and then we go out there and we have legit practice. So we structure an offensive period, a defensive period, and we do our special forces at the very beginning. So we're kind of weird in the aspect that we only do 3 days a week, but we just believe if they're going to be there, we're going to work our tails off, and then we want them to go and be kids. So it's been at first I thought it was crazy
that's a thing in youth that we kind of do. So we go 3 days a week, basically. Once we get out of camp, we go 3 days a week. And so I was a high school coach for 20 years, and obviously I was along the lines of like, one day was light, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Thursday was obviously lighter. You're really only going 2 days a week, 3 days there, but you're going each day. You don't really take off a day. And then at youth, we really just do 3 days, and it's amazing how fresh they seem for the game. So, yeah, but I'll let you continue. I'd like you to touch a little bit about that if you see that
man,
as well.
Absolutely. So when Gary Duggar, who I was working with at LC, it was his vision, and it's something that they've had success with. Gary's coach with Rick Darlington at a couple different stops. Recently, what was the last place they were at? Enterprise, Alabama. They were down there together. But
Okay, yeah, it's a big school. Yeah.
yes, big school. So Gary's a phenomenal guy. He kind of brought us into that world. At first, I thought he was crazy because I come from a 4-day-a-week program as well, but we haven't seen any drop off. If anything, we've seen more positivity. Like our kids, they show up, they're ready to work, and they just flat get after it. And then even as a coach, like I mean, I get a 4-day weekend every time, and our parents love it too because
Yes.
I mean, the bottom line is we have 15 workouts, and what we've done before, we've got them shirts that say committed on the back, and when they miss a day, we put a tally mark. That way, everybody in the program knows how many days they miss, and they're going to make it up too. But the kids love it because they get to go be kids all weekend. They get to go fish or do whatever it is they want to do. And the parents are like, well, we don't really want to travel on dead period. Okay, well, you can maybe break up your trips a little bit to where you can leave on a Friday and you can come back on Monday.
I think that part of it, right, where we see youth sports, and I don't want to cut you off, Coach, because
you're good, man.
It's a great topic right now. But you know what I mean? Like, look, we run a 7-on-7 club. We have ages 8 to freaking 18. You know what I'm saying? And especially with your you have kids that do multiple sports, right? So you're looking at now in this era of where everybody's wants to play one sport year round, or that's kind of like where people are kind of, hey, if you're doing baseball, like it needs to be year round, right? But the multi-sport guys kind of get left in that spot of like, well, I need to decide what I'm going to do here, right? Which way am I going to go as they transition and get closer to high school, where now that kind of focus on one sport gets more, there's more pressure to it, right? Like, make your choice, do this, do that. For parents, I think, especially in the younger years, where it's like, look, you only have these times, like once, they only go through this once, to be spending every weekend and every night of the week either at some type of practice or training or games on weekends, and now you're traveling or you're doing this. Well, like, at what point does a kid get to be a kid? And I know there's some pushback of like, well, that's what we do, or that's just kind of how it goes, or whatever it is. Like, that burnout by the time they get to me in high school is incredible. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have guys that would be, as a freshman, the starter on the lacrosse team, but because all of a sudden, he's been doing this, year round since he was in 5th grade, he don't want to do it. You know what I mean? There's pushback of like, hey, I'm only going to do this sport, or I'm only going to do that sport. You know what I mean? So I think that in itself, the structure of it just allows parents more of that sigh of relief of like, okay, like, we don't have to be doing this, because they're all just trying to keep up with the Joneses, right? They're trying to do, if Billy does it, then Dave's got to do it. Steve's got to do it. Like, every one of these kids has to go and do it, because they feel like, if I don't put my kid in this, they're going to be, behind. And okay, that might be the case for like right now, but in the grand scheme of things over time, like, it's okay. You know what I mean? You don't need to be doing all that. I can't tell you how many guys we've had on, Zach, that have talked about that in terms of like, when we're having the conversation of like, should they be training or should they be on a travel team? Right? Should they be playing games or should they be working on their strength and speed and conditioning and this other kind of stuff, right? Like that they can go and do now. So it's really hard. And that's before we even get into the whole monetary aspect of it, of like, this shit's expensive.
No doubt. Bad. Expensive.
Well,
right?
Yeah. The shit's expensive is a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it, like, you got 2 kids, Zach. I have 2 that they're young right now. They're not in that world yet, but they'll be in it at some point. And it's, look, Coach Shu's got a kid. Like, he does everything. The kid's all, you know what I mean? Like, he plays every sport. He's always involved in something, and he loves it, right? Because you talked about that a little earlier too, right? Like, the kid has to actually want to do it as well. Like, we can't be forcing this, like, every morning of like, hey, you got to go to practice, and they're pissed. You know what I mean? Or like, because then that's just, what world is that? You know what I mean? So
no doubt.
I think to take a step back for some programs or parents, right? Because then they don't feel obligated to have to do some of these things and almost give them a sigh of relief of like, hey, you're good. You know what I mean? Like take them and go do something, you know?
It's been a really big blessing because like we always try to sit down with our kids every year and just double check to make sure we know what they want to do. And it seems like ever since I've started coaching at the high school level, if a kid really wants to go be a college football player, whatever he is doing on the side of the game is for that reason. So, like, it's nothing for us to be like, okay, Elliot Lindsay's one of our upcoming seniors. He wants to go play college football, very well known, and he goes and he trains at D1. So, in his spare time outside of being with us, he's training anyway. So, it's nothing for us to be able to pick up a phone and be like, hey, so this is what we've been doing all week. You know, just to let you know, this is kind of how he's been trained this week. So you know how to progress with whatever you're doing, because we don't want to overwork the kid in a certain area. So having contact with trainers and stuff like that's been good too, but it's allowing those kids that really want to go to that next level in the game. They have that time as well. And then we have a bunch of kids who they're like, Coach, I just want to love high school football and I want to play.
Yep. And then guess what? I'm going to go to work. I'm not even going to go to college. You know what I'm saying? Like I have a bunch of those guys that they don't even go to school the whole day. You know what I mean? They go to school for a couple blocks or a couple periods. Then they go and do their thing. And it's, dude, that's okay. Right? Like that is totally okay, man, because guess what? Like I know my lawn is going to look great because you know what I mean? Like I'm always going to have heat and air conditioning and my oil is going to be changed on my car because we need those guys too. But it's just, Coach Shu and I have had this conversation. When we went to school, right, back in the day, not everybody played sports. And that was totally okay, brother. You know what I mean? Like there's just this, I don't know, movement or change of like everybody has to like sports are just the thing for everybody to do. Whereas that wasn't a thing back in the day. If you didn't play sports, that was okay too. We could all still be friends and have conversations and do whatever. But guess what? Like, you know, on a weekend, I'm going to go do this. You're going to go do that. And I don't know if it's like, I don't know what it is, but youth sports now have become such a big deal to everybody, and that just wasn't a thing.
I mean, it's really changed. I mean, my kids they're 4 and 5 years old right now, so one of them is about to be 6, and they just started playing like little softball, little baseball, that kind of stuff, and we really have 2 little leagues still in existence in the area, and I'm thankful that they're even still in existence because I mean, you take just the game of baseball. I love baseball, but something about like growing up and playing in a little league versus like the only option being a travel ball situation, there's a difference there in its own. And, you know, for our guys doing the 3-day-a-week stuff, so many of them like, dude, you're not going to play college football these days. I'm sorry. Like it was 8%. Now it's about 4% for a high school prospect. So I love you to death.
And that's across all levels, by the way, fellas. Like that's not even talking, you know what I mean? That's D3, NAIA, like all the way through.
Yes. I mean, it's crazy right now. And thankfully, though, we spend a lot of time with our kids talking about just the real world of that. So they kind of understand that we do 3 days a week so that the Elliot Lindsays like I have that want to go play football at a higher level, he can go spend Friday and Saturday going to Anderson University or Carson Newman or whatever, and he can get his camps in without having to worry about pissing Coach Payne off or Coach Wilhite off because he's missing practice. Like, no, we want you to go do that. Oh, you need to miss a Tuesday? Go. Like, it's okay. The biggest thing for us, of course, is just communication, right? If you talk to us on the front end of it, you know, the players might make you do pit or whatever. We have a tribal council with 8 leaders, and they make a lot of decisions for us. So they might decide to make you do a little rolling or something, but it's all fun at the end of it. But
man, it's nice to hear that places like that, like places like where you're at, still kind of get some of that in there, right? And it's peer led because it's different, you know, when it comes from a player than it does from a coach. You know what I'm saying? When you're in a pro, like it was always one of my things to see, like when you're trying to see where your program is at, when it starts to become peer led, where those guys are policing some of those things, you're going in the right direction, because it's really hard, especially in today's era with social media, to be a leader and to be able to, you know what I mean? Like have pull and say things and it resonates with guys on the team itself, because, you know, those younger guys, man, they just got a different level of, like, I don't want to say entitlement, but they just feel a certain type of way about themselves. And hey, that senior, he ain't going to say nothing to me. You know what I mean? Like, I am who I am. So when you can kind of police that within your team itself, and you're kind of just overseeing it all, and as a coach, you kind of see like it, and it's the little things, right? Like, hey,
you can see that I don't know if you watched that basketball game, like the women's basketball game. That girls team was definitely player led. Like UCLA was player led. They had 5 seniors. I don't know if they had any points scored by an underclassman in that game. And they're very, very, very tight group. That group was led by the athletes, and it showed. It really showed. Like, I mean, it showed that those athletes really, beyond the coach, obviously the coach did a phenomenal job of fostering it, but
of course,
the athletes, took it and ran with it. And I do think I think it's a good point, because I think it becomes it allows over time the relationship with your especially your head coach, because that's always a person that's driving hard. It allows a relationship with your head coach to be a lot better with the players when the players lead it. I think that's a big part that's very difficult to foster. Very, very difficult to foster. But when you get it, by the way, it's not going to be every year, because you're going to have teams that are not going to be player led. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
When you get that goal, you're probably going to have a lot of teams that are not going to be player led.
I think you'd have more.
But
when
you have that magic going, that it is a team that is. And that group ends up having a great relationship with not just the assistant coaches, but the head coach, because the head coach is able to focus on the part that they have to focus on, which is
100%.
getting a better, right? Improvement. They don't have to focus on all the external stuff that really bogs down, in my opinion. Most head coaches, you can have great teams, but when you have a player led team, you actually don't have to worry about a lot of the other things. You actually can become a better coach in that season,
Yes.
because you're able to focus on really the part that you really want to do is coach, right? And you're able to focus on that. And most of the time, as a head coach, and usually coordinators too, sometimes you have to focus on a lot of external stuff, not just the coaching part. And when you get player led teams, you're going to have some level of match. Doesn't mean you're always going to win a championship, but you're going to have magic that season, because of the fact that you're going to actually end up doing the thing you really love to do, which is coach, because the players are helping you with everything else.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, man, you talk about just a blessing to be around. Like, when we set up these tribal councils, we really just try to think of players who deserve it and then players who need it. So we also use it as a way to get some guys invest in the program in a different manner. And they sit in on, if we have a coaches meeting that's involving the program, they sit in on the meeting. So they are directly involved in essentially everything we do. And for us, our vision and the way that we approach that is, it's kind of like a good cop, bad cop thing. So if we see that they're really good at something, like this year, they were really good at communicating. So they did a really good job of making sure the message was portrayed to their team and then getting information back to us. They were really good at, trying to think, like calling people up to the standard, but they weren't necessarily there vocally, if that makes sense. So like,
absolutely.
In the heat of the moment, they couldn't do it, but they were able to circle back and do it later. So for us, right, it made it easy. That means we just need to coach them hard. That's the part they're missing right now. Now, this next team that we have, they might be mute. They might not talk at all. So then we have to figure out what to do there. We've had teams within a program where we came from. We had a similar system with player leadership, and we had dudes that they would grill each other. They would slap each other on the head like, okay, I got it. Let's fix it. We're going to keep moving. But they sucked at communicating with each other. So we had to spend more time making sure everybody was on the same page from a communication standpoint. So I think as the coach, when you give the players that ability and that platform to start taking that ownership, all you need to do, especially as an assistant coach, is you need to help just make sure that we type the loose ends of it. What are they not doing very good at? And then how can we develop those skills for those guys too? So giving them opportunities to speak in front of the team if they struggle with communicating. Or, sometimes I'll just look at the defense and I'll go, hey, you make a call. So I'll just tell a linebacker, regardless of who it is, like, you call a play. And just, I don't know, to me it seems like if I just give you the keys to the car, then we'll figure it out. So we love the player aspect of it. That's one of the big reasons why I wanted to follow Coach Wilhite, is because he just believes in his players. At the end of the day, we just believe it's their program. All we're trying to do is navigate it to where we all want to get to. So that's been a really big blessing for us. And then just getting to compete too. They're tribal teams. We do different kinds of stuff for team building exercises they compete on. So they have a great time with that. They earn points in different systems and activities and things. So we have a lot of fun with that. And then, sometimes they get to make a decision on a player discipline. If a player is giving some issues in the locker room, they come to us about it, and they kind of weigh in on how we should go about the process and stuff. And believe it or not, man, I was so impressed with the maturity of these kids. They're like, so-and-so is just being a little bit negative in the locker room. He's using a bunch of foul language on people or something. And, we feel like it needs to be brought to attention. And then we figure out how we want to handle it all together. So, the maturity level and stuff from those guys is really important. And it bleeds over into our X's and O's as well. So I firmly believe it.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I agree 100%. It's good stuff. It makes all the difference in your program. Coach, you've done a great job. Coach, what's the best way for people to reach out to you? If they ever have any questions, comments, want to talk to you further about what you're doing?
Yeah, sure. My email is good, Zachary Payne 1998 at gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter. It's down there. It's Coach Payne with 2 underscores at the end of it. And then my cell phone number is 865-257-4141. So I'm an open book. I'm just here to learn from people. So the day I quit learning is the day I hang up the whistle. So I'm all about talking ball and connecting with people. And for everything I give, I believe I'm going to get from somebody. So, and I'm a professional thief like the rest of us are. So we steal from each other, and we find ways to make it better, or we let the human side get involved. We make things worse. So, just how it goes, man.
No doubt about that one.
So not every tool was meant to be used. Sometimes it's better off in the belt for a later time.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Fantastic stuff, Coach. Well, we look forward to seeing how everything continues to go down the road, and we'll have you back soon enough and talk some more.
Anytime. Really enjoyed it, fellas. Thank you all.
Thanks,
all right, Coach.
Hey, thanks, Zach. I'm glad we could finally get this done, man. This has been a couple of months in the works, buddy. But hey, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, it's all good. And again, thank you for doing everything and helping out with Coach Mealy and whatnot. Unfortunately, they're going through a rough time, but anything we can do within this coaching network, man, that helps guys out. It's really awesome. So appreciate you on that end as well, man. So God bless. And if you need anything, let us know, and we'll talk soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, fellas.
All right, Thanks, Coach. Brother. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
All right, great stuff there. Really interesting. Always interesting coaching at a
smaller schools, brother. Yeah. Those smaller schools, dude. Like dude, I love that idea of all, like, the letters to the younger kids. I think that's like so cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
it gets them engaged right away.
Right away. Mom and dad are like, holy hell. Like, what's a letter? You know what I'm saying? Like, wait, this kid's got mail. Like, I just think that's a great way to create buy-in. And I love, especially with the smaller teams numbers wise. And like, those guys are all practicing at the same time to go and do individual with the older kids. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's awesome. You know what I mean? Like, it's also logistically a great way to kind of like add bodies to your drill itself, if you need help there with numbers, right? Or if maybe you don't have as many coaches and now you can kind of get them all together. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not worried about, well, what are you going to do with the middle school team for this time until this guy gets here or whatever? You know, now those guys are literally doing the same drills, you know what I mean, with the high school guys. And you're not putting them in a situation where they're going to get hurt because it's, you know, there's no, you know, you're not doing anything like that, but it's just a good way logistically to kind of run a practice and make it smooth and transition and do all those other kind of things, along with all the other, like creating buy-in and all that other kind of stuff that goes along with, like, you know, keeping those younger kids at your school.
Well, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I think that's a huge impact, and it makes all the difference being able to do that. The leverage that they begin to have because the players are invested is second to none. I mean, it's really interesting. Uh, and you know, when you're at a small school, I think, you know, you get. I feel like some of that stuff could be implemented faster than when you're at a bigger school. You know what I mean? So, I, but yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. It's really they've got a really good, unique thing going on there, from that standpoint. So, really cool stuff. It's it's really. I'm curious to see over the years too, especially what they implemented, like how, like long term, what kind of success they have. That'll be really interesting because some of these new models of doing things, I can't wait to see like 5-6 years out. I mean, it may be less in some
Right.
cases, obviously, but it's really cool stuff that they're doing, and yeah, unique, very cool. And I think it makes a big difference for the athlete's success. So, anyway, great stuff. Who do we have next?
We're off tomorrow, and then Wednesday we have Coach John Patrick. He's coming on 10 what time? I think let me see. 10 a.m. He's director of strength and performance in Georgia. Or I'm sorry. Wait, hang on. No. Is he Georgia? Yeah, he's Georgia. He's down in Georgia. Buford. He runs
Buford,
SKG
okay.
Strength. So I mean, it's a Buford area. And it's I think it's Seconder High School. But it's near Buford. But he's you know, he's on the strength and conditioning advisory board for Georgia, for the state of Georgia too, as well. So sometimes it's nice to get those. I mean, the fact that, you know, Georgia has that, you know, it's just like already you kind of separate yourself as an outlier. And I believe he's a Youngstown, Ohio guy, born and raised. So those Youngstown boys are different.
No doubt.
Yeah, you know, so, you know, you take some of those guys and you put that down with the athletes in Georgia, and holy hell, you know what I mean? Like, so, you know, and again, he recently put out, you know, a tweet on X that the weight room is the most influential room in a school. Really good article, kind of, you know, talking about how when that weight room is involved in your everyday academic schedule, just the change in the kids themselves. So he's a firm believer in that, which is really awesome.
Very cool.
Good perspective. Man. Yeah. So
and then what's the date of the two
15th.
guys? So that's
next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
Tony and Bob King. We'll have both of those guys on together to kind of go back and forth with it.
Yeah, get that discussion going. That'll be interesting. Tonight's national championship. Let's see if the Huskies can get it done. It's going to be a tough climb against Michigan.
I know. How crazy is it that the you know, when we had Coach Joyner on from Oregon women's soccer that her husband is an assistant on Michigan staff. That just he's
They're in
finishing.
championship.
Yep, he's finishing this out, and then he'll be the new head coach at Oregon State. So that's awesome.
I didn't see that. Wow, really?
Yeah,
So they'll be. I guess they'll have a
closer.
home somewhere in the middle. They get a home, and then
I guess, and then just kind of, I don't know how far apart are the two schools. You know what I mean? I'm not really sure.
let's find out. I'm curious. Oregon State to Oregon difference. Curious. Distance. I'm sorry. Oh, not bad at all. 40 miles, 40 to 50 minutes, and then if it's almost an hour, if it's like I don't know how busy things are out there, but
I was gonna say, is there traffic?
I don't know if there's traffic. But that's not bad. So you can live wherever you want. That's pretty cool.
100%.
Wow. Wow. Very cool. They are a high achieving.
Yeah. It's like she was posting picture. She was posting pictures of being at the Final Four and all that other kind of stuff. So like that's really really cool. And she mentioned it. Like 10 years ago he's coaching 12U AAU ball, and now all of a sudden you're the head coach. You're an assistant coach in a national championship, and now you're going to be the head coach at Oregon State. Like that's just such a cool story. You know what I mean? Like it's awesome.
It shows you how interlocked everything is now, as opposed to where it really was separated. And maybe the pros is really probably a separation line, but for anything, because it's just a different, you're dealing with truly adults. But it's interesting. You're seeing more and more this like the youth all the way to college. You know what I mean? Depending on what you're doing. I mean, I even in the 7-7 space, I just seen like what the guy who used to run New York Hustle, he's at Syracuse, and the guy who used to run the group that your cousin played for, but now is merged with
Top Stars
or a no a
or
he played
whatever
with
that
Top.
is.
Oh, maybe it's with Top Star, but he was with I can't think of the club now. They're
They
no
were the
longer.
Bergen Stars last year or something.
Yeah, but I'm saying 7-7 he played for somebody that's no longer. They're merged with someone now.
Oh, I don't know. I know he played for the Bergen Stars last year.
I can't remember who it was. But that guy coached at Pittsburgh. So it's interesting how there are opportunities in non-linear fashions now. So it's really, really, it's a totally different space. Basically, the space is: are you willing to do what it takes to succeed at a higher level? And if you did some things good at a lower level, and you have something you can bring to the table, guys are getting opportunities because there's so many new jobs, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't mean they're all high paying, but there's so many new jobs, and I think that's
Yep.
what creates more opportunity. Like, hey, I know you coach this, but I could use a guy doing this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And would you do it? And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we will do it. I'll do it, and boom, you're gone. You're going over there, and you like you got a regular gig. No different than like, I don't know, you jump companies in finance. You know what I mean? Maybe a slightly different pay scale, but no different
No
than
doubt.
that, which is really, really. I mean, you're seeing it even in flag, right? Like flag girls coaching guys coaching the girls. It's like that's a whole different. That's going to be another thing too. Eventually, and when D1 schools start to make those scholarship opportunities. I mean, they may start out with one coach, you know what I'm saying? But
Right, and then they'll transition.
that like, I mean, what is it? What is that? Like 15 girls on a team, 20 girls on a team, and so, I mean, shoot, that's like, That's going to be really interesting in itself because that's like having a basketball team. Like I mean, we eventually have 3 or 4 or 5 coaches, just like you do in basketball, right? Like you got a lot of coaches in basketball. There's just not that many players, right? So very different than football. Football's unique in the aspect of like
because you have just the most amount of bodies, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like
there's
football's
so
tough
many
because
bodies. You'll never have enough
look,
coaches on staff.
100%. And like even football, like look, he talked like he just talked about it. Came into that program. There's 19 kids in the program. Like that's not even you can't even run team.
Right.
And we're not even that's not before we got to, quality. Like I don't know if that's the way to put it, but like what are we talking about? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Interesting.
I just was listening to a podcast and a guy on a school in West Texas, like far West Texas. 300 and something kids in the school total, right? Just approved $21 million locker room facility. It matters.
I wanted to, I can't believe I can't find this. I'm going to find it right now. There's a gym. Okay. You got to see this. It's in Texas and I think Arizona. It's, oh, God.
Dude, I've always been so intrigued by Arizona. Like I always say like Florida, but dude, I don't know. There's something about Arizona that's always been so intriguing to me of just like, man, that would be a nice place to like raise a family. You know what I mean? Like kids, like, I don't know.
Maybe it's not. And I thought it was, I thought they had a gym in Arizona, or maybe they're coming to Arizona, but their starts in Texas. So basically, it's a guy that
always in Texas,
an Arabic guy who played high school football in Texas. Okay, but I think his family is from like Saudi Arabia. But like big into fitness and everything. So but he played high school football in Texas. He created a gym. You have to look this up. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's a chain.
5. He started with like a smaller gym, but now he builds these monster gyms. To give you an idea, like 175,000 square foot, like 200,000 square. Yeah. So it's called Absolute. His let me see how big it is for you. Hold on, I'll tell you how big it is.
It's like a Lifetime.
No, it is, but it's not. It's really like a.
Absolute
Lifetime's a little. It is like Lifetime in that I'm sure it probably costs an arm and a leg, but it's not like Lifetime in that like it's kind of like if you're a hardcore lifter, you'll go there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like a body, like almost like a bodybuilding gym type of thing.
No, you got to look at it. I it's everything. It's called Absolute Recom, a Recom. Absolute, like you spell it, and then RECOMP. If you just look this thing up,
Absolute
when you see it, you'll realize why I'm saying it's like it is, but it's not. Like it's not like Lifetime.
Yeah. Oh, I get it. Okay, I see it. Damn.
It's a gym. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's not pickleball there or anything. You know what I'm saying?
Like they are focused on this is the main thing, and this is what we're doing.
It's insane. They have 5 locations. Oh, I guess it is all in Texas. I think that maybe they're looking to move to some other locations. Is this place incredible?
Wild.
I mean, I've never seen a gym like that, and it's not expensive. It's $80 a month.
Because think about it, like those places, like they have the space to build those types of places. You know what I mean? Like think about if you tried to put one of these in Jersey, the rent alone on
you wouldn't make it back.
Finding space, you would never, ever. I mean, you could throw
never make the money back, right?
Different gyms, correct? Never.
I mean,
that's why these, like, you know what I mean? That's why, like,
$80 a month, Derek. I mean,
oh my God, I know. But look, that you actually.
I'll never. I know that I'm never going to be rich because I can't convince anybody to move to an area that we can actually really make money work for us. But it's insane. This gym is like I could go to this gym. You could bring
Yeah,
your
see, like
family
world
there.
class posing rooms. Yeah,
It's
they keep
more
the
of a.
main
It
thing
is
the
a
main
like
thing.
a. But they have like a turf area. Like, you can like
Oh, of
do other.
course,
But it's. I mean, you got.
24/7.
It's insane, dude. It to me, it's just
Man.
like.
Man, I remember it was so like growing up, like it was so cool working at a place that was a 24/7 gym and to just kind of see what went into that or see like the clientele that came in because people are like, what do you need to be open 24/7 for? Well,
Yeah, oh yeah,
people
it's
just didn't
24 hours also.
people just didn't understand how like people were like if you're on that third shift or whatever, I mean, dude, I'm just telling you, the ability to be open 24 hours. I mean, doctors, right? Like they get off a shift, it's like whatever time, like they want like like law enforcement, firefighters, right? Like all of these people that would come in at the most obscure hours to get a workout in, and people just wouldn't understand it because to them it's the middle of the night, you're supposed to be sleeping. Whereas some of those people just work, you know what I mean, or whatever. Like now that's their 3 o'clock p.m. You know, like, and now they can go and get a workout in. And but I'm telling you, those things to keep the lights on and those kind of things, like, man, it was wild to like be a part of a 24/7 gym. It was so cool.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that facility is unbelievable, dude. Like, absolutely unbelievable. Oh, this might be a jinx. UConn has never lost in a national championship.
Hurley, it's I mean, he's pretty impressive coach. You know.
Dude. UConn chances of beating Michigan, 29%. Wow. So the money is all on Michigan, huh?
Yep.
I don't know. There's just something about Hurley that sways it for me.
Yeah, he's great. He's great. Great coach, you know.
Can be a good one, buddy.
No doubt.
I'm sure the Husky faithful will all be all about it.
No, they'll be all about it. They'll be all about it. So,
especially since the women went down, you know what I mean? Or so, oh boy.
Yeah, oh yeah. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. So,
wow. All right, man.
All right, man. I'll talk
to
to you tomorrow.
Yep, later.